What's up, guys? I'm Uncle Freedom, coming to you on a glorious and well-deserved day off from the frozen tundra that is Nebraska. It is currently like 15 below zero outside, and I am not thrilled about it. Also, let's go ahead and take a moment. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, comment down below in the algorithm. Let's defeat the algorithm overlords one day at a time. After all, they are censoring tons of gun content all over YouTube. There is a stack of videos on a gun channel. Dumb stuff like that. Also, if you're looking to support the channel, take a look down in the description box below. My website is violentalgebra.com. Go to the last page of that thing because the rest of the website's probably not done yet. Should be about done. Go to the last page of that over there. Once you get there, you'll see all of my affiliates. Go over there, hang out, and if you were going to do it anyway and use those links, it helps the channel, and for that, I thank you. Biggest supporter of the channel right now is Outlast Supply. Those folks over there are amazing. They've curated a store that looks just like it would look if I curated a store, and it's really freaking cool. And like every time I get on there, I'm like, ooh, I need that piece of candy, right? Like it happens. So what are we going to talk about today? We're actually going to talk about something that came up in a conversation with a subscriber of the channel. He messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey man, and he showed me what happened. And a couple of minutes into talking to him and seeing the video of what actually transpired, we figured out what took place, and he wasn't happy. And it formed this video, and this video is good work ain't cheap, man. And cheap work is rarely any good. We live in literally the golden age of firearms. There are literally reliable options available from almost every company. And there are parts and manufacturers and modifiers all over the place, right? Part of being a gun person, though, is the need to make our gun our own. Something YouTube is not a fan of when I show it. That is little things. That could be Cerakoting your gun. It could be getting it stippled. It could be having your slide milled, whatever, right? Making it your own. Let's take a look at one of mine, and this is super easy to do. Look, we're super clear. This is one of those very non-scary wheel guns, antiquated technology, but I love this thing. This is my Model 627 Pro. I dig this gun. YouTube, you just saw that this firearm is clear, and I'm in a safe area of my home where I maintenance and work on firearms, and I dry fire down here. There's actually zero ammo for this guy down here, and I've been working on my trigger staging all day. And then I've got me a cool Galco pancake-style leather holster because these things go together, right? But this is making it your own, right? Like making it your own. I ordered some VZ G10 grips, right? Like I'm super excited to put those on here because it's going to make it a little more my own. I know Admin Results has this exact same gun. This is an 8-shot 357 Magnum revolver with a 4-inch barrel. It's freaking amazing, and it shoots phenomenally. But I love it. I love a good wheel gun. But we are all about making things our own. We love to do that, right? Like that is just super freaking important to us as gun people. But this is not a new phenomenon, right? We need to be very clear about that. Modifying stuff and changing the way it looks to suit your own taste is ancient technology. Like this is not a, like, dude, there were old school revolver guys getting their stuff like carved and filigreed up, like super, like full machine are carved out, like hand filigree, gold inlay, pearl grips, right? We had guys even in the 50s and 60s getting trigger jobs done like while they were on lunch. Like even the Wild West, fully nickel plated, full filigreed cylinder, just beautiful. Like Honest Outlaw's got a beautiful Colt single action army that's completely filigreed out. It's beautiful. Flash forward to now, right? Those skilled tradesmen are gone, but the need is still there. And we have literally limitless options out there, all the way down to getting a certain color pin for your Glocks. The issue, though, arises when we start seeing things like a product that looks cool and is way less expensive, and we fail to understand that's because it's terribly made and could actually just be downright dangerous. The bigger crime, though, is the people not figuring that out because they don't go vet it, right? We see that all the time, too. Guy like decks out his stuff with like all of this super budget Temu crap, and then like he never goes to the range. He's got that optic that's got like the red dot and the laser and the flashlight all built into one with a mount that's made out of pot metal. Like, they're terrible, right? Like, this happens. And then they don't go vet it, and they tell everybody, like, oh, it's great, it looks cool, right? Like, here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with buying stuff because it looks cool, but you need to be honest about it. We all understand at some level as gun people, even newer gun people understand this, that super special red anodized rail isn't really dependable. And if you're intending on like mounting a laser you got from Temu on it and it to maintain 0, it's probably not going to work. It's definitely not going to work if we put something that actually maintains 0 anyway. But the real crux of this video is not so much the parts, right? Because by and large, parts are pretty easy to come by, and they're actually, for the most part, even the really inexpensive stuff is really well made. It's not bad products, though. It's bad work being done. Somewhere, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, with the advent and proliferation of smaller, more compact, less expensive machining tools, lathes, and an overabundance of bubbified how-to videos from YouTube, and a lack of actual proper tools and some 3D printers, everybody now knows somebody that can do things. I.e., I got a buddy that can, well, he can do that for like $30, man. Why are you going to pay $150 to send that to Jagerworks, man? I got a buddy that'll do that for you for $30, right? No, I'm not selling anything YouTube. I don't have a lathe or a machine shop. There is a reason that people like Wager Machine or Jagerworks or Agency Arms charge what they do. There's a legit reason that happens, okay? The newish trend, and I say newish because we've been doing the actual art of this for a very long time, but the newish part of it is the fact that we're seeing it done by people that probably shouldn't be touching things. It seems to be porting slides, right? If you go back and you look at almost any of like Jerry Michelik's, so 627, still clear, right? We look at his stuff, he Magna ports, he gets his guns Magna ported, right? That's like the OG port job, right? That is the new hotness. Comps, ports. We like comps, we like ports, right? Why? Because recoil sucks and it kills recoil. But the actual porting of slides and barrels is why this video exists. So let's do a story time. I did not get permission to mention this gentleman's name. However, if you see this video and you're like, hey, that's about me, feel free to let people know it's about you. I can confirm that if he decides to, but I'm not going to out him, okay? So a subscriber had a guy, insert the I got a buddy line here, do a port job on his Glock. Now, the port job on this Glock, I noticed when I saw the initial picture, well, actually, I should back up, right? Somebody did a port job on the Glock, but let me tell you the crux of how this got started. He sent me a picture of his Aimpoint Acro, and the front glass was actually caved in, dead in the center. And he said the concussion was too much from the Glock, and it broke the Acro. And I'm like, that ain't how that works. And then he sends me a video. And in this video, I witnessed some things, and I tell him what I think just happened. Turns out, very right. It's not a flex. It's just a observation. I do this a lot, right? So back to story time, right? Now you know what he showed me first, and then we get to the story. The guy did a porting job on his Glock. Unfortunately, this guy used a laser system to do the cuts. At least I think that's what it is. That in a water jet, but it could be a laser system because the holes are not symmetrical inside and out. That's a thing. In addition to porting this gun like midway down the barrel, like not out towards the end, midway down the freaking barrel, straight down the center, he cut a big window inside of the slide and he cut like 6 or 8 ports in there. Then he goes to the end of the barrel and the end of the slide and he cuts a chunk port in there, right? Chunk ports are the new thing that we see. It's the very end. The barrel's got a big chunk taken out of the top. There's a hole in the slide, right? That's known as a chunk port, right? Kind of a comp, kind of not. So he chunk ports it. He windowed the slide. Like when I tell you that this guy did a whole bunch of stuff, but the reason that things cost what they cost is because this guy, let alone, like, this guy did not have the knowledge that to know that he needed to do some things, right? So this guy had the want and the skill to make the holes, but he did not have the knowledge that he knew he must deburr the inside of that barrel, because sharp things sticking down inside of a barrel as a bullet passes by at like 1,200 feet per second is not great. Not only did he not have the knowledge that he should deburr this on the inside of the barrel, he also did not have the knowledge that once he chunk ports the end, he has to back bore out the rifling in the barrel to before the port. He also didn't deburr that either. Not only, I say that he didn't have the knowledge, he also may have not had the proper tools in which to do these things. This causes a very dangerous situation because I'm going to give you a mental image to think about. Inside of that barrel looks akin to a cheese grater now, right? You have very sharp things, and as your bullet passes through these new ports that have been cut in your barrel, it shaves pieces of copper and lead off, and it flings them out of the ports and mock Jesus. This is dangerous. And in the video, when he showed it to me, again, we're going to use my revolver, so we're still clear. Let's say this is the port, right? Optics mounted here. In the video, the flames came back and engulfed the optic. Wow. So what we actually had transpire, and he, as I asked him more questions, he told me that he did. In fact, when he was shooting, things were hitting his glasses and he felt things, but he wasn't sure what it was. What was happening is as he fired that firearm, it was shaving so much copper and crap off of it and blowing it back at him at Mach G. So he's blowing stuff back at him at like 900 feet per second, okay? It smashed into the center of his acro and literally just punched out the sacrificial lens on the front. That is not a failure of that acro, not even remotely. There is not an optic that's going to survive it, okay? It took a piece of molten copper and lead at like probably 800 to 900 feet per second, basically off of the explosion of the round, into the center of it and broke it. And the thing is, if it had hit any closer around the edge, probably wouldn't have broke it, but it hit dead center, so it smashed that acro. It also blew crap into him as the shooter, into his glasses, into his face. Blew a fireball that engulfed the back side of the slide. Never a good thing. Fire shouldn't go that far back. One of the cool parts about revolvers, when you shoot, fireball comes out the side. Super fun. I mean, just think about this. So when I say, and I'm not trying to bash the dude, right? Like the dude's trying to do stuff, but this is where the problem lies. How many absolutely butchered Glock frames have you seen as a result of, I know, but I got a buddy that does stippling. Think about that. How many just atrociously, like almost ruined Glock frames have you seen because they cut the damn trigger guard off when they tried to undercut it? Or they stippled through the thing, or the stippling just looks terrible all the way around, right? Like here's the thing, if it's yours and you want to learn this stuff on your own at home, that's fine. but look at it and go, you know what? I should not be charging people to do this. It's probably a good thing I didn't have to pay me, because I would have to refund my own freaking money, right? How many times have we seen that? And the reason we've seen it is because we have people that don't have a skill set attempting to do work that requires an actual skill set. I say this all the time. Being a Glock armorer is not necessarily a badge of honor, right? Glocks are almost Legos. If you do not mess around with the functioning parts of the gun in some specific fashion, you will not cause that gun to fail. However, porting things, doing action jobs on revolvers, those are more gunsmithy things, right? Like working on 1911s. Like, here's the thing. If you tell me you work on 1911s and revolvers and you don't know what I'm holding in my hand, you don't work on 1911s and revolvers. Truth, okay? If you don't know what this is, you should not be taking those things apart yet. So don't get duped into this, guys. I'm begging you. I am begging you with all things inside of me, okay? I know that you want your handgun to be everything you dream, and that is awesome, and I applaud you, and I'm super excited for you, and I hope you get there. But there are reasons things cost what they cost. Please seek out. Don't just have a guy tell you, yeah, I've done it all the time. Go talk to some people he's done it for. Ask to look at his work, right? I akin this to like tattoo artists, right? I am covered in tattoos. Anybody that's seen me when it's not wintertime, I'm covered in tattoos, right? I have tattoos all up and down my arms, down my legs, on my chest, right? I have covered in tattoos. I will not let a guy tattoo me unless I see his portfolio, and not his newest portfolio. I want to look at like one of them like 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and then I want to see how he's learned and progressed, right? I want to see how his style changed. Did he become softer and better at black and gray? I want to see this, because that tells me what kind of person I'm dealing with. It's the same thing when we start talking about guys doing stuff that is not user level maintenance at home. Porting barrels, chunk porting or chunk comping, slides, stippling frames. Like I said, you want to stipple your own frame, that's great. Honestly, if you were going to do that, I would tell you to get a Magpul PMag, because that polymer is like the same, right? Learn to stipple that way, or get one of the new RXM frames and just learn to stipple on that, right? Practice. But be honest with yourself. Like, if you're super happy about what you did because you did it, it doesn't mean somebody else should be paying you for it. Be realistic about this. Please don't ruin other people's stuff. That guy that messaged me and we had that conversation could have lost his freaking eye. He could have been seriously injured because of that guy's incompetence and his inability to be like, I shouldn't be charging people for this. Having parts of the tools does not make you a machinist, okay? Having a few wrenches and punches doesn't make you an armor. And having the thing that you should know what it is if you're taking apart 1911s and revolvers doesn't make you a gunsmith. I'm not a gunsmith. I am an armorer. Glock armorer, it's a Lego, okay, right? Don't mess with certain things, it'll be just fine. But I can also work on 1911s. I can also work, still clear, I just picked it up off the, I can also work and clean up and do some polishing and action jobs on revolvers. I like this stuff. I can do works on rifles. I can diagnose and fix ARs, all kinds of problems on ARs, but there are things that I openly admit are outside of my depth, right? I'm not going to pin and weld your AR. It ain't going to freaking happen, because I don't need to be doing that. I'm also not going to remove your pin and weld. I don't need to be doing that either. I'm not going to fix your barrel extension that's coming loose. I ain't doing that, right? Because that is beyond my scope, and I am well aware of it, and I am perfectly okay with admitting it. Any person that does maintenance, this kind of work on guns, should be so open and honest and upfront about what their capabilities are. They should be formally willing to tell you, hey, that's cool, I understand it, but I'm not offering that, right? Don't push it. If they tell you they ain't offering it, there's a freaking reason they ain't offering it, right? That reason is they don't want to turn your stuff into a terrible thing, right? Because here's the other part of this, right? People get super butthurt online. They get mad when people get called out about this stuff. Tattoo artists have this figured out long ago. Every guy walking around with your artwork on their body is a freaking business card for how good you are at your job. These are no different. If you paid a dude to do work to your stuff and you went walking around and your gun like fires frags at everything, if you turned your gun into a freaking flashbang that shoots frag out the top, you didn't do any good. Okay? Also, anybody that's going to build ARs, they should openly be able to tell you why a 7.5 inch 5.56 gun is a terrible freaking decision and you shouldn't waste your money. If they can't tell you why that's bad, you need to go find somebody else. So guys, sorry, hot button issue. I felt really terrible for this guy. If I was a super huge big name YouTube thing, I would probably try to source that dude another slide in a barrel just to be a nice guy. But I'm not. I don't have it like that. And it's getting a lot harder to get it anywhere near that with the way we get censored and throttled on YouTube on a daily basis. So in addition to checking out people like me, go check out people like Jeff Gerwich at Modern Tactical Shooting. He is awesome. Fantastic dude. Former Green Beret. Was a teacher at the CQB schoolhouse, Sephardic graduate, actual Sephardic graduate. Like, go follow people like him, right? I like Jeff Gerwich. He puts out fantastic information and he teaches people. Regular guy training. That dude's awesome. He shoots a ton and I can really appreciate it. Aaron Cowan will always be one of my favorites because he is a polymath like me and he is a nerd that researches stuff. But go find these other people. And I can honestly tell you, if you want to become better at this stuff and you want to know just more, go check out the Primary and Secondary podcast. Matt Landfair for Primary and Secondary is amazing. The podcast is great. I'm not in all their groups, but some of the people you will see on this podcast, Caleb Giddings, Daryl Bulkey, Matt Landfair, Chuck Pressburg, you will learn so much listening to these guys talk. It is incredible because they've all been there, done that, and got a dozen t-shirts from doing it. So go out and support other people. Don't just support me. Find other guys like me and support them. But I don't do drama, so I can't tell you who to support. Do what you want to do. I'm just not a drama. I don't do high school crap. I deal with that enough as a cop. So guys, I am Uncle Freedom. Hopefully you found this informative. It makes you think and you understand that it's okay. It is absolutely okay to look at that friend of yours and tell him you ain't doing that shit to my gun, okay? 100% okay. You don't owe them anything. That is yours. Spend the money for quality work. Please do that, okay? It's safer. And don't buy really crappy parts that are super, like, just chintzy looking, okay? The cool points you'll get from the first 3 seconds before your gun malfunctions aren't worth it, okay? And by all means, anything you do, go vet your gear. Even if you have your stuff done from a reputable manufacturer, like Wager, right? Wager, the slide cut for my one of my CZs. I went and shot the crap out of the gun to make sure that slide cut worked. Okay? Do that. Go vet your people, talk to your people, do your thing, okay? But guys, it's okay to tell people no. It's your stuff after all. They didn't have to pay for it. You did. And if you're going to give somebody your hard-earned money, I highly recommend that you see all their work, see their older work, their newer work, see how they've gotten better, and talk to people they've done work for and actually do it. And as far as YouTube goes, seek out those people that you find are informative. I just stole that from Matt Landfair, and I don't even care because it's a great line. But like I said, Jeff Gerwich of Modern Tactical Shooting, he's a fantastic dude. I love his stuff. And he is old enough that when I mentioned to him that we invaded Iraq looking like we robbed an army surplus store, he understood the comedy of that. And those people that were like Iraq from like 03-ish to about 06 know what I'm talking about too, before we dress like mom's couch. So guys, I am Uncle Freedom. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and until next time, I'll see you later.